Yeah, well, so that was the plan, right? We'll build it at the beginning of this year, and then it'd be good. But now we won't be good.
You'll still be good. It'll just be,
remotely good.
There we go.
Good adjacent.
Good.
Hello, welcome
Together, separately.
Oh man. It's too rainy and dreary for thinking about together separately. So hello, welcome to episode 202 of the Fun Times. We Were Gamers, the podcast. Let's get back to the normal, where we just complain about neck and back pains, you guys.
I love it.
I am glad that we don't currently use live cams, because I'm just sitting here stretching my neck. I'm getting old. Painting this past weekend for 2 days straight has left my body a wreck, and that's a sad thing to say.
I feel like painting is a stressful and painful activity because it requires you to contort in a lot of ways, and in general, bodies don't do well with contorting. That's just like a blanket statement, but I think in specific, us old people don't do well with it.
I like that. I think I agree. It was productive, but man, it hurts later. Anyway, that was your homeowner's minutes. I painted a hallway this weekend, you guys.
Cool.
Please, someone quickly save us. This is We Were Gamers, a podcast with JJ.
Hello.
Michael.
Hey, everybody.
Andy's here. And we need to talk about some games due to the current ongoing
global conditions. All right, I got a game.
Okay,
we're going to talk about this.
Thank God.
All right, two things. Number one.
Yeah.
Shut up, Andrew. We're talking about games now.
Hard cut.
Go
All
over
right.
here.
So this past weekend, some friends of mine from college decided that, hey, you know what we're going to do? Because all of us can't get together in person anymore, which is dumb anyway, because none of us have gotten together in person for years. That's a lie. More of them have gotten together. I just haven't seen any of them in years. Anyway,
so what they're saying is they decided to include you in an activity finally.
Oh, I'm included in the invites to all the things, and I never go. I don't want to go to the middle of the desert with them. That's not something I'm interested in doing right now. Or ever, really. Let's be fair.
Oh my God.
Look, wonderful people. Love all those guys. Great group of people, guys and girls. And I just don't want to go camp out in the middle of the desert with them for a week. That's not my idea of fun. Anyway, so they do stuff like that. But also, we used to play a lot of video games together when we were in college. And now one of them sent an email around this past weekend. It was like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have a virtual LAN party. And I was like, that's a good idea.
What's a virtual LAN party?
It's where we all play video games together on the internet.
But there's a new name for this kind of thing, which is just like clanning, grouping. Games offer this as a service.
Is clanning a new thing?
I mean, clanning is an old thing, depending on what we're talking about.
So a lot of these people used to play Counter-Strike and stuff, so they were in those kinds of clans, which was the system in that game. So,
yeah, that was the one I was talking about, which was not great.
Oh, the system itself was fine, but yeah,
the connotations of that,
weren't as good. Weren't as good. It was the lawless days of the internet, let's say. So they decided to do this.
He went straight for it.
And they were like, oh yeah, we can reinstall all the old games and play them together, and this will be fun and stuff. Hey, did you know that it's kind of hard to install some of those old games and get them running?
Yeah, the computer that I'm fetching to build doesn't have a CD drive. So that
Andrew,
would be problem number one.
Okay, hold on. Let me disabuse you of a notion right here. LAN parties weren't about owning games.
Hey, I had a Warcraft 3 disc every time.
Warcraft
Except
3
for
was the
half the
exception,
times.
actually, because even on LAN, Warcraft 3 checked for CD keys.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
You know, you could
so all of
eventually
us
get
owned
around
Warcraft
that with
3.
a CD. You didn't have to bring the CD, but you still had to have the RIP on your desktop, and the RIP had to be unique. You couldn't have like 5.
Yeah,
of
so
the
that
same.
was the problem. We needed to have enough copies of Warcraft 3. So eventually everyone owned one of those. And people were like, oh yeah, we'll install old Warcraft 3 and we can all play that and use
Nope.
a VPN and get together and do that. And I was like, I hate to break this to you guys, but they re-released the thing of Warcraft 3 and it kind of ruined all this. So a bunch of people ended up buying Warcraft 3 and we played that together a little bit. That
The
was
new
fun. With the only one, Andrew, there is no old one anymore. So we played some
does that work,
silly
the
custom
new-
games on that.
Yeah.
It worked okay. It like the maps, the custom games were a little silly because they kind of drop if the host leaves. So if the host would die and then would quit out to go do something else, then the game would drop, which is kind of a bummer.
no.
It didn't always happen, but it did happen sometimes. So
That's
not
not
sure what's up with
good.
that. We also played a little bit of StarCraft 2 for like a good 45 minutes.
Yeah, buddy,
You know,
that's like one match.
everyone's favorite, big game hunters, 20-minute no rush.
Oh yeah,
Kind
so
of
you
situation.
literally played one match.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that was okay.
Okay, what did you go with after this long of a time? You used to play Zerg.
Oh, so
Oh,
I
man.
played Protoss.
Yeah, easy mode.
Yeah. It turned out that whatever map they used in order, because we had like 9 people, so the standard 8-player maps didn't work. So we had to find a custom map that supported more players, and the custom map we had more changes. Let's say stuff like workers didn't take supply, and
What?
yeah, dude, a whole bunch of really stupid stuff. So the game wasn't fun or fair. Like carriers costed like 1,200 minerals, but their attack was like 50 or something ridiculous.
Whoa.
Yeah, dude, the game was just completely broken. We realized like basically everyone not playing Protoss was getting hosed, and we're like, what's going on? Like there was like 3 or 4 Terrans and like only a couple Zergs, but they all just got steamrolled by like a couple Protoss people. And I'm not good. It wasn't even me doing it. I was just like turtling, and I was like, dude, what's going on? And then like I see this fleet of carriers coming off the side. I'm like, oh well. They just took out my entire expansion in about 10 seconds.
Oops.
Yeah.
Man, that's a game I haven't booted in a while. We should do co-op commanders.
Yeah, I would be interested in trying that. It doesn't support as many people as we had, so we didn't investigate it. And they wanted to play some Counter-Strike. So I was like,
speaking of clanning.
Well, so, original Counter-Strike is kind of hard to get running. You have to have servers and other ports and all this stuff. It's kind of like a hassle.
Isn't
in
CSGO
the
free?
modern internet. So CSGO is free, and you can download it. And I did, and all of them either downloaded it or had it installed because they still play sometimes. And jumped in there, and they're like, "Hey JJ, we can't see you online. What's up, man?" I'm like, "I'm in the game. I can't, I don't know what you mean."
Okay.
But Steam didn't show me as in the game. It showed me, myself, as in the game, but no one else could see me. And then I couldn't see anyone else playing. And I was like, what's up with this? Do you know what was up with this?
You were identified as a Russian bot?
Nope. I was playing the free version of the game, which doesn't let you play with your friends.
No.
Oh. They
Cool.
separate you out?
No. Please, no.
The free version of the game can join like quick play, you can join random maps and stuff, but you can't join games with your friends.
That's for the rich.
Yeah, apparently you have to buy the game for that.
So you said.
And so then I was like,
"See
you know
guys
what?
later."
It's time to go to bed. It was like midnight at this time, so I was like,
Yeah.
I'm done.
See ya. Oh, boy.
I also
I don't like that.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all. Pretty mad about that whole situation. So yeah, it was a fun time. It was good to basically like sit in a Discord channel with them and just shoot the breeze for 3 or 4 hours. It was good.
Wow.
Yeah, really good time.
Can I interrupt you before you talk
Yeah.
about something else?
Sure.
Since you mentioned Steam, I just had the thought. Steam's a kind of a weird place. There's not like a sale going on per se, But let's say most companies are slowly rolling across sales, like Microsoft Xbox Studios had a sale this past weekend.
I believe that sale is concluded as of this recording now, but it was going on this past weekend.
However, there are many sales rolling through.
Mm-hmm. Steam always has some games on sale.
Sure.
They do developer sale like every weekend.
Yeah. Let's say they're a little more regular right now. People are needing some of that cash to run in to their businesses, maybe. Sid Meier's Civ 6 is 70% off.
Okay, but is it the one you want?
So I was going to ask you, is the Platinum Bundle the way to go? Do you think they're done expanding that game?
Hold on. I don't know what's in the Platinum Bundle. Does it include
all the scenario packs, the main game, Rise and Fall, and Gathering Storm?
Okay, if it has both Rise and Fall and Gathering Storm, then it's the one you want.
Do you think they're done expanding that game?
So, I don't think they have made more than... Okay, that's not true. Civ 5 had 3 expansions.
Did it?
Yeah, right. Because it had the Gods and Kings one.
That doesn't sound right. Civ 5 only had 2 as far as I remember. I could be wrong.
No, you know what? You're right. It had Brave New World and Gods and Kings, and those were the 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, yeah, that's almost certainly it. In which case, that's the one you want. I was going to say, because if it doesn't include Gathering Storm, you don't want it. Gathering Storm is the good one of those 2, I would say.
Andy, is this one of those situations where you actually already bought it and are just waiting to say that you got the right edition, or are you on the fence?
I'm literally staring at it in Steam currently.
Okay. Oh, you should buy it. It's good.
It's I've had a lot of emails from multiple of these storefronts the last few days. Hey, this thing on your wish list is on sale. This thing on your wish list is on sale. And so, like, most of the time I'm kind of like, it's not a time to be going crazy. But the Civ 6 email came as we sat down to this, and I didn't know how I was going to work it in here. But thankfully, CSGO gave us the opportunity.
Well, I'm actually glad that you brought up Civilization, because I saw an interesting article over the weekend, and I almost sent it to you, and then I realized it might work better to not bias you with the article first. I'm not sure if you guys have played all of the Civ games, going all the way back, but this particular article was ranking the Civ games.
Whoa, pull that up. Give us that.
So I read this article, but
okay, so you did see it.
Only briefly, and his opinions were wrong anyway, so...
Oh, dang. So we do have to do it. Let's do it.
So I haven't played that many. I've really only played 4, 5, and 6.
Okay. I have to look at the covers to know which ones I played. So let's see. Civ 1, no. Civ 2, no. So I started with Civ 3 here, it looks like. Oh yeah, Civ 3 for sure. Civ 4 for sure. Yeah, okay. Cool, hit it. What's that list?
So on the list...
But I don't think I played it that much.
So at the bottom they had Civ 2.
All right.
Then the original.
Again,
I don't...
games we didn't play.
Yeah, right. But like looking at the original, I'm looking at it, and it's like... Okay, no, you would never want to play this again at this point, right?
Yeah, well, so maybe this is easy because the list is broken up into 2 halves, right? It's 2, 1, 3. Those are the bottom 3.
Okay,
and then 6, 4, 5.
And JJ, you think this is wrong?
Yeah, I think 4 is worse.
4 is worse than 6?
Yeah.
So you think it's 5, 6 at the top?
So from 1 to 3, it would be 5, 6, 4.
Okay.
I think so. I think a lot of people really, really liked 4 a lot.
Yeah. Well, It made
And
that franchise.
There wasn't like between 4 and 5 was like a really long time, right? It wasn't just like 3 years or something. It was a pretty good long time.
Sure.
So I get that people played that a lot, and they're like, "Oh my god, the systems were so good and stuff."
He didn't rank Beyond Earth.
Not a Civ game, right?
No, it is. Beyond Earth is a Civ game. I mean, it's literally called Civilization Beyond Earth.
Sure, okay. Andrew, let's rank it. Would you put it above any of the games you've played?
No.
Okay. So then you can safely rank it at the bottom of this list. I haven't played a bunch of those other games. You can put it below those.
Okay. I mean, it's better than Civ 1, probably.
Maybe.
I don't know. I just look at Civ 1 and I'm like, I would tear my eyes out looking at this for more than an hour. All right. I love 5, but I haven't played 6. What makes 5 better than 6 for you, having put X amount of hours into both?
Sure. So I think there's a couple things. Some of the stuff that's new in 6 is cool and interesting when you're getting used to it. But once you kind of have mastered it a bit and understand really what the districts do for you in Civ 6, you kind of lurk like, all right, there's like 3 or 4 districts that are like really good. Kind of these other ones are like, I might get one here, one there, whatever that, or like I build them when I need them, like the spaceport one or the airplanes one or whatever. But it's not there's a right answer for where this district goes, right?
Oh, it's not like a trade-offs sometimes are worth it scenario. Yeah. It's always a yes or no.
And it's not always a yes or no, right? But it's like, you're never going to pick the one that gives you less resources. You will always pick the one that gives you the most. So in that case, and once you've played it a bunch, right, you'll be like, oh, well, I can't found a city here. I'm not going to be able to fit XYZ in this area. So I need to move over here. And now I have to waste 2 turns walking over there to make a thing. And like, that's the kind of stuff. So that's not great.
There were a lot of things, though, in Civ 5 that were kind of busted.
Yeah. So I think they improved. So the stuff that was super busted in 5, they fixed in 6. I just don't think the stuff they added was as good as the bustedness.
What about
right? Like I would rather it just be busted in that way than this new way.
What about combat? The old style of combat versus Civ 6.
Yeah, so that is a thing that I think a lot of people say, right? Like 4 was the one I started with, and I was just never a fan of the way combat works in that game. You create these giant stacks of units and march them around, and there's like 5,000 units on this one square.
Yep.
And you murder everything with your doom stack, right?
I liked having nuclear stacks. Like,
sure,
I'm hiding a nuclear
stack of
missile.
Anything, man.
I'm hiding a nuclear missile in this stack of battleships. Good luck.
Yeah, that's how you played it. Like, there's really no other way, right? Like, the computer would do it to you if you didn't do it back to them. So, I just think it wasn't as interesting as having to actually build good units to fight off your opponent's units.
Okay.
Because, you would basically just keep building units that were maybe slightly worse, but if you could outproduce your opponent, you would stack 500 horsemen to their 10 tanks and still kill them, right?
Right.
And so Civ 6 kind of made that, or 6 kind of made that harder, or like a lot harder to do, because now each of your horsemen takes up space, and their 10 tanks can kill your horsemen faster. So I think I just prefer that hex style of combat. The move to hex stuff, I think, was controversial for people as well. I didn't mind it, of course, but I think a lot of people really, especially maybe people who played those older games, really didn't like the hex stuff.
Yeah, I'm into Civ 5's way of doing it. I just kind of wish there's like there's a boringness to the combat of like, I just have to keep putting musketeers out until they decide to go away.
Yeah, I agree. The combat isn't as decisive anymore. You can't like blitzkrieg someone effectively.
Right. Yeah. The surprise factor isn't. I've been secretly making an army, like in 4, right?
Right.
And then my army crosses your border, and there's no chance you have to recover.
Right.
Instead, it's, well, I've been making an army for like 6 turns, and their scout jumped up on a hill and saw my army, but I only have 8 dudes, so now I need to turn all my cities into army production, and I need to slowly stream dudes into there until I surround his one city.
Yeah, until you get to like the later game and you have airplanes and stuff, which kind of alleviate some of that. But yeah, I mean, it still involves you moving units around slowly into their territory. It's a little different philosophy, I think. And if the thing you liked about Civ was that like giant stack of units rampaging through their territory unstoppably, like
go back.
I totally
4.
understand.
Yeah,
like it's good.
So maybe 4 should go higher than 6.
I don't think so. But like, if you like that, then more power to you, man. Hey, those games are still there,
Okay. So now that we've done all that, and I already own Civ 5, should I buy Civ 6 because it's on sale?
Yeah, I think Civ 6 is still good.
Okay.
It sounds like a yes.
The thing I think I've seen as the biggest complaint about Civ 6, which I guess is the complaint about literally every Civ, is that the diplomacy is still bad. They're not wrong. But it's bad in every Civ, right? It's just bad in a different way.
Every Civ game, diplomacy is setting up the screen, trying to figure out if you can get the computer to give you the thing that you want, and literally just trying different agreements until they say yes, or you realize it's never going to happen because you click the "what makes this agreement work" button.
Right. So they in 6 started this system where each leader has these agendas, basically, and these are like things that like personalities, but they're randomized. Like, these are things that generally they are always going to want to do, right? Each leader, since the leaders all are personalities, right, all have a like agenda that is known, right? Like, hey, George Washington wants to explore, Teddy Roosevelt wants to explore more land, right? Because he loves the wilderness. Or, Queen Elizabeth loves navies, stuff like this. Mm-hmm. Then they have a secret agenda, which is one of any number of randomized ones, which, if you get spies and stuff later, you can figure that stuff out. But it will sort of flavor the way they play. And that system is hit and miss. In some cases, it's cool because it gives them like, hey, this guy is just like loves religion. And if you are mean to his religion or not part of his religion, dude, he's not going to want to deal with you. Just straight up, he's going to be mad at you all the time. Okay, but like in some cases, there's not really any play there that you can make, right? This guy's just mad at you all the time. And it's like, it's not my fault. I didn't, join your religion. I was on the other side of the planet. You didn't come over here. Like, what am I supposed to do? You just want to declare war on me.
Right.
So that system is kind of hit and miss. And so I understand why people saying that like the diplomacy is broken just because sometimes there's nothing you can do for diplomacy. It's just, it won't happen because the agenda means that guy doesn't want to talk to you. Which is a bummer. You can't just bribe him with, thousands of dollars of gold like you could before, right?
Right. Exactly.
So I think that's the most common complaint I've seen, at least about the diplomacy. And I never play with I never use diplomacy that much anyway. So whatever.
Yeah, you kind of just, if you can do your best to appease the people directly next to you, you really don't need it.
Yeah. Either if you're going to, either you are friends with these neighbors and you're going for some kind of culture or military victory, in which case then diplomacy doesn't matter. Your rock stars and your, or your tanks are going to show up either way.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you're going for like the space victory or whatever, it's a little more tough because if they invade you and blow up your spaceport, you're in trouble.
Were you able to ever get the World Congress to vote for you in Civ 5?
So not in 5. I've done it in 6. 6, you can buy and sell votes a little more easily.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to win that way in 6.
It was a super duper problem in 5. You had to basically amass all the city-states on your side.
Yep. City-states play a big part of it in 6 as well, but it's way, way more obvious like, hey, you can just like buy these guys' votes with a straight up currency. So anyway, 6 is good. I think, if you have played 5 a lot and you kind of already know what to do and you wanted something different, this is what 6 is for.
Ah, all right. Well, you haven't been playing Civ 6.
Nope.
The number
I
you've
have
been playing is 0.
That's right. The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero. And I got to the end of that game. And that game's pretty good, you guys.
Yeah. Does it hold up favorably against the Trails in the Sky games?
I think it does. And I think it is interesting how this game is kind of the first 2 Trails in the Sky games together in one game, but not as long.
Okay.
The first, I think, Trails in the Sky game was maybe like 40 hours, 35 hours, something like that. I don't know. 40, 50 in that range. And then the second one was like 80, 90. It's like way, way longer just due to like, the higher levels and a lot more combat, a lot more characters, all that kind of stuff. This game manages to feel like to go from that, like, you're just a small town city cop on the force doing, rookie cop here out to earn some respect, to by the end of the game, ace detective Lloyd Banning's here ready to arrest the bad guys and stop the international incident.
Is his
in
name
one
Lloyd
game.
Bannings?
Yeah, that's his name.
That's a really good localization.
That's the character's name in Japanese.
No.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lloyd-san.
The character names are really good.
I'm really into that now.
He's a good cop, man. He's there,
Mm-hmm.
And I think this fan translation, they really went the extra mile, and you can tell in the like localization of their the lines and stuff, and how much work they put into that. All the like, hey, this font looks kind of weird, and so we've expanded the text boxes, or we've done all this kind of like work around the edges that is invisible to you, the player, except when you try to play, like, let's say the game that comes after this that doesn't have that kind of work put into it. And wow, it's noticeable. I have to open up Cheat Engine every time I play that game if I want to use the turbo speed button. Because the game itself doesn't have one, but Cheat Engine can hack it in. So that kind of stuff.
Oh man.
And yeah, and like, it's stuff where like, hey, you can tell sometimes when stuff is run through Google Translate, right?
Yep.
And it's not that bad. This new game, right? The one that comes after 0.
1?
No, the name of the game is Trails of Azure, or Trails to Azure, depending on how you localize it. Anyway,
so it's not Azure. 0. It's Trail. It's not Trails. It's Trails. But is it Lloyd? How is this connected to the next one?
It's the same characters.
Okay, but they're all the same characters. But this was like a prequel sequel thing. Midway through all this stuff, they went back and did these stories. So I was just curious how they connected these two into.
These two were the ones that came or in terms of release order, right? These 2 games came out chronologically after the Trails in the Sky games and before the Cold Steel games.
Right.
In Japan. They were just never localized to the US. These came out on the PSP, Andrew.
I can't keep it all straight. I'm trying really hard. I really am.
Just gotta play them. That'll help.
I know. I knew if I played them, I would understand, right? Like, it's not a thing. It's like Kingdom Hearts. If you'd play it, you'd understand, right?
No, you wouldn't. No, that's not true, though. This is much more understandable than Kingdom Hearts.
Okay. Fine.
So, you miss that stuff. And it's like really obvious in hindsight, when the name of a book, the title of a book series is Agnes in the Sunshine Place instead of Sunshine Agnes. There's like, someone looked at this and is like, that's not how you would say that. You would say it like this. Versus, like, this is obviously how it was written in Japanese, right?
Fair.
So that's the kind of stuff you run into, and it it's not unreadable. It's totally understandable, right? But you're like, oh, this is kind of lame.
The spit shine that everything else did. So up to this point,
right? And so you're like, oh, like the fun personality of the characters doesn't always come through because the lines are kind of flat, you know?
Well, you've known them well enough that now maybe you can apply the attitudes, I guess is the right word, that they have.
I am soldiering on because I want to get to the end of this so that I can play the new Cold Steel one. So
okay. Cool.
But enough about me. We've talked about me too much.
I don't know about you guys, but I played a little bit of games. I played some of that Hearthstone again. I hit 6,000, JJ. I talked about it on this podcast, and now it's just a yo-yo up and down above 6,000. So
you should get back into playing regular Hearthstone.
No,
man.
so I got over 6,000 again, and I uninstalled it.
Oh.
Go out on top.
I'll wait a week, month, whatever, let people kind of settle a little bit, let them start playing the new Ashes of Outland expansion, play with their Demon Hunters, and then I'll get back into it maybe after that, or maybe I'll just find time to finish other stuff. Hey, did you know Netflix is a really popular thing right now?
Oh yeah.
Finding things to do in between painting sessions and once kids are asleep.
Good thing they're asleep.
Yes, the kids are asleep for both of the things I want to talk about. Who wants to step up to the plate first? Because I feel like you guys are on different shows that we should talk about for half a minute. Mike.
I think you should talk about the important one. Yeah,
okay,
the one sweeping the nation.
The one that has the nation in its teeth.
In its teeth. I was on Twitter and I kept seeing people talk about XYZ thing. Yeah, it's really not worth doing.
Don't go on Twitter. That place is bad.
I can't quit Twitter, and I don't know why. I don't look at my Facebook hardly ever. Instagram once a week, maybe less. For some reason, I don't know if it's the news, because I basically use it as a news aggregator. Thanks, Google, for deleting Reader. Still, this many years later, I'm bitter about it. Anyway, everyone's talking about XYZ thing just like this person in Tiger King. And I needed to know what the heck they were talking about. And now I wish I didn't know what they were talking about.
So I didn't watch this, to be clear. The analogy I saw was white trash Game of Thrones.
Oh my god.
So you tell me how right this person on the internet was.
Man.
That's a pretty accurate description.
What if the people that did Waiting for Guffman did a Game of Thrones reality show?
I don't know that I've seen Waiting for Guffman.
Best in Show.
Okay, sure.
Same people.
Got it.
So, like, imagine a Best in Show Game of Thrones about owning exotic animals.
I don't...
Can you imagine it?
I mean, look, I've seen so many clips of this thing on the internet and people talking about it. But I want to know, so how much have you guys watched?
I'm 5 episodes in.
Yeah, we have watched the first 3 episodes.
Out of 7, I think. Supposedly, there's a rumored 8th episode coming this month.
Oh, no.
Yeah. One of the characters you have not met, actually. There are more characters coming, Michael.
Wow.
Yes.
So, JJ, it's one of those shows where when you think it can't get more ridiculous, the next episode starts. And you keep watching because it's how much worse is this train wreck going to get?
Yeah. So my wife did watch this and kind of told me the same thing. Apparently, this was a podcast series. I don't know if you guys. Knew that.
It's one of those true crime things. It's actually about crime at the end of the day. And so
it sounds like a lot of crimes are being committed. So yeah.
Much like the other Netflix series, which have basked in the whodunit nature of some of these things that are not actually whodunit. Tiger King seems to know who done it and who at fault. And so the suspense and interest is in meeting out the entire story over these 7 episodes. Rather than telling you what has happened and why, they expound on the drama of, well, this person hates this person, and here's some rumors about this, these people talking to these people. And it's very much as if they had filmed this as a reality show, where you kind of would bet that all the people hating the other people and the people sleeping with the people is fake. And then you have to stop and think, no, this guy's giving narration from prison. This is real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
There, Michael, you think you understand maybe in episode 3 what's happening here, where things are going. They kind of give you the crime at the end of episode 3 there, I think.
Right. Did Carol feed her husband to a tiger?
But they also, I think, give you the crime of why Joe's in prison. And if not, I won't ruin it for you. And how the rest of the show kind of becomes how does he get there, but also like what happens to these other characters along the way. And like why some of them aren't being interviewed for the show.
I love that Andrew called them characters. They're people.
That's my point. That's my point. It's filmed like a reality show, but they turn people into characters. They 1,000% do,
because their real lives are so unbelievably ridiculous that
but they start to make the point that like this Joe Exotic guy had cameras running on himself all the time because he thought he was a character. He thought he was a character so much he had the camera rolling on himself doing crimes.
Reality TV gone wrong.
See, that's what I mean, right? So you can't not think of them as characters at a certain point. And that's where the show factor comes in. And around episode 5, there's some stuff that gets pretty real and you're like, oh man, I've been enjoying myself when I really shouldn't.
You thought this was all fun and games, but it turns out things are real.
You thought it's all fun and games until someone gets their arm torn off by a tiger.
That's one of the first...
That was episode 2?
Yeah, that's one of the first reminders that things are not a show. Right? Like, oh, this person that's being interviewed this whole time, I didn't notice she was missing her arm.
Good on them for shooting that in a way, I guess.
No, it's there the whole time. I went back to the first episode.
Oh, yeah, because I noticed it right off the bat.
Didn't think anything about
okay.
She's literally just...
They don't draw attention
sitting
to
in well, no, she's just sort of like sitting in a camp chair talking to the camera.
I noticed it, but I didn't think anything of it because there's another guy with no legs. Ask the question. Ask.
Yep. Are these Chekhov's legs here?
They are. They are not legs that were torn off by a tiger.
Well, yeah, and that's the great thing is that they make you think that, of course, he lost his legs to a tiger, but nope. Right. Ziplining accident.
Yep. Hey, JJ.
Mm-hmm.
What if you could be an Indian guru that had teen girls working your tiger farm?
Would it require me to be Indian? Because I'm not.
No, it requires you to be a red-blooded American that can lobby Congress with your baby tigers.
I see.
There's some
this
stuff that
sounds extremely safe and also pervy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty pervy. Man. Oh, man. Michael. The guy who is the prototype of Scarface is in this show.
Oh, yes. We've met him by episode 3.
Okay, good. It's weird. It's really weird to be watching it mouth agape, not thinking you can turn it off because you have to know what happens. Watch an episode and then think about it about 20, 30 minutes later and be like, I really shouldn't be supporting this. But it's already happened. It's not like the show made it happen.
Right.
Although
the show was filmed well after the events took place, right?
well, so part of it was not.
Oh.
Right? Some of this was in production as a different show. And so you have to wonder, like, were the cameras being around, like, part of what caused this problem?
It certainly probably didn't help.
I don't like being the, we're not critics, right? On this podcast so much. We're not always cultural taste makers, maybe, in terms of what you should and shouldn't support. We've stood up for net neutrality, so it's not out of place to be like, I'm not sure about supporting this, but I know myself and I know that I'm going to watch those last 2 episodes because I physically can't believe some of the stuff that's happening. Viscerally.
Yeah.
That's my
it very quickly drags you down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my midway review of Tiger King.
Okay.
Other things after the kids went to bed. JJ, you're up to bat.
Yeah.
Castlevania.
Yeah. We watched that.
I finally understand what you meant when we talked about it, and you didn't give me any spoilers, but you said things don't wrap up.
Nope.
And when I was talking about it, I said that I thought something was going to happen to Isaac, and I misspoke, and I meant Hector.
Yeah.
And something did happen to Hector.
That's true.
Michael, spoilers or no spoilers?
Nah, go for it.
This podcast, I will try to maintain G language. However, we're talking about a non-G show.
Right. Adult situations.
If you're listening with your kids,
earmuffs.
Oh, maybe just go to the next podcast. Wow. There's a lot of sex at the end of this show.
Yeah, the last few episodes there are like, hey, how about some boobs?
How about we're just a hentai show now?
Right, I was going to say, didn't we already discuss The Witcher?
Yeah.
Hey.
So The Witcher looks like a love story compared to this.
Oh dear.
I think their attempt to do mature themes is laudable. However, I think the animation medium they have chosen leads it to kind of look awkward in a lot of cases.
Oh man. Yeah, oh boy. Where to start? I don't know that I needed any of Alucard's anything.
That's
a great place to start with Castlevania, right?
Yeah.
You could have just left Alucard out of season 3.
Yeah. Because it doesn't go anywhere by the end of it, right? He's just mad now at the end.
So basically at the end it becomes Alucard is the new Dracula.
Maybe.
But maybe not because also Dracula.
He certainly doesn't want to be there anymore, that's for sure.
Michael?
Yeah.
What if you spent all season training an apprentice and then you thought something along the lines of like, this should be an Anakin Skywalker situation. The apprentices should turn on him. That would be like a good storyline, maybe?
Okay.
What if those 2 apprentices were brother and sister, and then because you didn't teach them magic fast enough, they thought, let's kill you, and to kill you, they came in your bed in the night. And
look, Andrew's being squeamish about it. What they were, they're like, hey, let's all have an orgy here, and then we're going to kill you.
During the
that
orgy.
time.
Because we're mad at you.
And, yeah.
for reasons.
Weird flex, but okay.
There was no weird flex. I mean, Alucard has a magic sword, and that was the end of that.
And then he just murders the crap out of them.
He did. He literally just put them on a stick, and
Yeah.
then that was the end of Alucard's story. I wrapped it up the whole way.
Hey, so, closure.
Okay.
That was season 3. Alucard takes on 2 apprentices. They get mad at him. He kills them during
The
sex. The end.
So now that you've seen it, does it feel like the first 2 season pair where they're halfway through an arc that's going to come back down?
1,000%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really honestly think it would have been stronger if they had said we need more episodes or less episodes. And it may have been too bold a choice to do it, but leaving Alucard out might have been good. I liked the Isaac stuff a little bit better than I thought I would at the end there.
I was super bored by Isaac almost the entire time, and then once it got to the last couple episodes, I was like, "Oh, Isaac's story is great.
Yeah,
never mind."
Yeah. So, Michael, I'll wrap up Isaac's story for you. He wanders through the desert, kills a lot of people,
and makes them into monsters.
Makes them into monsters because he has that power. He's a forge master, so he can make monsters out of dead bodies. He resummons a soul from hell to inhabit a dead body, which then changes the body into a night creature.
Like you do.
Yeah, it's a cool power. Hector has this power too. This is basically the point of the show. Everyone wants these forge masters' powers, but you have to be human, and you have to not be mentally enslaved to do it. You have to do it of your own free will.
Right.
So Isaac and Hector are off on their own trying to make it. And Isaac's version of trying to make it is wandering to somewhere. I can't remember where.
Not important, really.
He didn't get there by the end of the season.
Correct.
Literally waited until the second to last episode to get to a place where he had to go into a fight against a magician that was stronger than him, which made for really cool scenes of fighting.
Yes.
During the best episode of the show, right?
Yes.
Where you had the most cringeworthy scenes paired with the best scenes in this epic whole episode long, so 20-something minutes, cutting back and forth with raging cool music playing of 2 epic fight scenes paired with 2 sex scenes.
Yep.
At the same time.
That's jarring.
It was
a lot.
It was a lot. A lot. The other scene being Hector being enslaved, kind of bound, I guess.
He was seduced,
physically seduced and bound magically by a vampire.
Okay.
That was So Hector's arc was seduced by a vampire all season. That's it.
Yep.
Okay.
And the other cool action scene was Trevor and Sypha investigating this cult of monks in this town.
So that's the best part of this, and really where I felt like they didn't have anything else for anyone to do because they needed to tell the story of Trevor and Sypha meeting Bill Nighy. What's his character's name? Time traveler guy.
Great question what his name is. Couldn't tell you.
It's something long. Oh no.
Anyway, everyone knows
Bill Nighy.
The guy, Bill Nighy.
His character is some sort of like dimension traveling dude, scholar.
He is a magician and a grifter, basically.
Was a magician and a grifter until he discovered this way to walk through portals.
And then somehow lost his wife or something.
It appears to be his wife, maybe.
Unclear. We never see who it is.
Someone is lost in a portal. It looks like a woman.
He is trying to get back to this person desperately, However, the portals are like unstable and you can't find them in any place, and it's all
You have to have a gem to find one unless you're a demon. And under this town that Trevor and Sifa happen to be in, there happens to be a demon chained up underground. So there's a cool story of unraveling what these people are trying to do for probably one too many episodes. But they have to set up the like carving of things in this town, and they have to make you kind
Castlevania fashion. There's satanic rituals being involved here, right?
Yeah, and they build up some characters in this town, like the mayor of the or whatever, the judge, whatever you want to call him. The judge. Ugh. Man.
How do you think about the judge, Andrew?
Oh man, they really did one over on him at the end, didn't they?
Did you see that coming?
Before the sweaty interrupted in his study moment.
You knew something was up with him the whole time, though, right?
It seemed like there was, because he kept saying that he was like the judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah.
And then when he tells the little boy to go to the apple tree, I was just like, I don't want to know. Just don't tell me.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Yeah.
It was such a great guy. It was less bad than I thought it would be, but it was still pretty bad.
Was it?
It was less bad than the sweaty thing that I thought.
I think maybe you're right still, though. I think it's bad in all the ways.
Oh, God, no. Really?
Remember that room?
Yeah, the room only had the shoes. The bones were in the pit.
Right. Yeah,
which means he wasn't doing the thing that would make him sweat that I was worried about, that I'm not going to say out loud.
How do you know, though?
Because the bones were in the pit.
Right.
So I assume he just retrieved the shoes and left the bodies in the pit, and that's where I'm going to leave it.
Okay.
Because that's all I can handle, and if there was more to it than that, I might stop watching.
I got the impression that he was not a great guy.
Please just don't. No more.
Well, yeah. So anyway,
it was completely unneeded. They could have let this guy die without him being a murderer of probably children.
Oh, clearly he's a murderer of children. That part isn't even up for debate. He literally killed that kid.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know.
Let this guy die. A hero.
It was hey, they burned his house, so he kind of got to.
I just mean the story could have. Unneeded.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, Trevor and Sifa and Bill Nighy. I still can't remember his name.
Dude, I don't know what his name is. I truly don't.
They do the whole investigating the mystery thing for the whole season. It's a good mystery. You kind of figure out where it's going. There's a little bit of a surprise when the entire town goes up in flames. The demons attack. The fights with the demons are really good. Trevor Belmont is the biggest badass. Although Sifa cutting things heads off with ice, pretty good.
Yeah.
He has to kill the demon as many times as the souls that it has absorbed from the town.
Oh, gosh.
It's a lot of times.
Yeah.
Anyway, that fight scene's really good.
It was so good, man. Yeah, and it's literally like him killing the same thing over and over and over, and he's getting the tar beaten out of him, man. He's having a bad day, and they're just killing it. Oh, cut its head off, doesn't matter. Cut its arm off, doesn't matter. It's just like
there's a really good moment though when I didn't notice it, but he's using the Belmont explodey chain whip, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's been through this fight and he's killed this thing like 8 times already. And then someone explains to him why it's not dying. And he's like, you got to keep killing it because you got to get rid of all the souls. And he just pauses for half a second and then pulls out the bullwhip also.
Nice. He's just I stop using the one. He just starts using both.
No, he just starts using both now. It's like, okay, now we got to get real serious. Review Castlevania Season 3. Fast forward everything except for Belmont and Sifa.
I think I liked it a little bit more than that, but the first 2 seasons were like maybe some of the best.
Season 1 was light. I mean, it really was. They find Alucard in season 1. That's about it.
Season 1 was a lot of setup. Season 2 was really, really good. And then, like I was saying, there's kind of like we got to set up a new arc here. Let's make some stuff up. And it was just like,
there was a moment that I thought JJ pulled one over on me because they open a portal and the portal zooms straight to Dracula. And I was like, what?
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, please don't do this. What do you think what I think you're about to do? Oh no, oh no, oh no.
Yeah. It was a feint. Red herring.
Yes. Thank goodness. If they had brought Dracula back like that, I would have been like, even though that's what happens in every Castlevania game, that's not what I want.
No, you got to wait till season 4.
Okay. You know what? I've already watched these 3. I'll watch a 4th one.
I will too, because it has to be the culmination of all this stuff, right? And so that will be
I want to see the other half of the stuff they set up. The like overarching plot that they've kind of set up.
I want to see it. I love the discussion they have at the end of this season between Sypha and Belmont, where it literally is like, hey, season 4 is going to be different, guys. And Sypha's like, we were having so much fun before this town exploded and burned to the ground. What happened? And Belmont's like, well, we were living your life and now we're living my life.
Yeah, they were like carefree, happy-go-lucky adventurers. And she's like, what happened here? And he's like, this was your life.
Yeah.
Now we're living my life.
Yeah. And that to me is the whole like, stick with us, season 4 is coming. You know?
Yeah.
And so I believe in season 4 being really good based on what I see here and where they left everybody.
I want to see Isaac and Hector get their resolution, man, because they didn't get it in this show.
Yeah. Hector's is going to be pretty good. And, you know, clearly Belmont and Sypha got to go get Alucard. And we'll see where that goes.
Are you saying they got to put the band back together?
They got to, so he can stop talking to his stuffed animals.
Man, lonely, sad Alucard is like some of the funniest stuff in the middle of the show, and I thought I was going to like that arc so much.
I know.
And then it got to the end, and I was like, man, I hate this.
No, dude. If that arc had literally just been him every episode, spending 10 minutes of it, or 5 minutes of it, whatever, on sad Alucard, it would have been genius. It would have been genius, because you just be like, please, someone go get Alucard. He's making paper. He's making paper airplanes.
Alucard could be Dale Cooper in the lodge,
yes,
just like wandering around talking.
Right. You know, like season 4, episode 1, Sypha and Trevor show up, and he's accidentally been buried under a pile of books in the library for like 3 weeks, but nobody knew how to go get it. You know, like, oh man. Hey. If you have thoughts on sad Alucard and what you would have done for his storyline in season 3, where would you send it?
You can send those to podcast@weweregamers.com. You can also find us on social media. You know, that's podcast at weweregamers.com, and we're at weweregamers on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, and all the other social media.
Yay. Dale in the lodge. I love it.
Yeah.
Dalucard.
Kuplacard.
Oh. Kuplacard sounds like a Mario boss.
Yeah.